Hello, my dear community. This is Valeria from Lightup Impact. I decided in light of our founder showcase event next week, where Rogers, Grace, and Isaac from our community will pitch at a public event where there will also be some guest panelists to give them feedback. I just thought to create a short presentation and to share it with all of you, since this could be useful anyway to our community. And I just basically captured some tips and tricks and some structure on how to create a good pitch. At least from my limited experience, maybe there is something that you guys can learn from it. So I hope that this will be somehow useful. So first of all, I'd like to start to tell you what is for me the art of pitching and why is it an art? Is it about pitching? It's about basically selling your dream to somebody else. And this is because we're trying to persuade somebody to act upon our idea, to convince them that this is a good idea to invest on, to convince them that this is a good organization to collaborate with, or whatever it is that you're trying to ask to your audience. It's important that you need to catch their attention, and it's important that you somehow convince them that your idea is a good one. And I know it's not easy. This is how I looked right before my first pitch. I was super nervous. I had no idea how to really talk in 3 minutes and convince an audience that the project I was working on or I wanted to build on was a good one. And actually, my very first pitch was during a online event, which lasted 54 hours, very intense, where we actually learned a little bit about how to pitch. And within the same event, not only myself, but also my team members from Together Women Can, we basically prepared the pitch and then we pitched to this guest panelist. So it's still very close to my heart, that moment at the Techstar startup weekend on sustainable development goals, where I learned for the first time a little bit how to pitch, and I also got some advice from a guest panelist, which is what you will also do next week at the event. So what is a good pitch about? A good pitch is about telling a good story. So how will you be able to tell your story? As I told you before, it's about selling your dream. You can do that in many ways, but try to start simple and to be somehow entertaining. Think about who is the character of your story. Is it yourself? Is it your beneficiary? Try to build a story around your pitch and try to tap into people's emotion. That is actually really important, because we as social entrepreneurs can use also the power of your personal experience, the power of your cause. Why are you connecting to your cause? This is the only way that if you allow other people to understand why you care about your cause so much, they will also connect to you and believe in you. So that is very important, in my opinion. Also, try to use your voice, try to use your body language in order to keep the audience entertained during your pitch. And this is something also that you will learn by practicing your pitch over and over again, also with different audiences. Always try to be yourself and be authentic. This helps a lot because people need to believe in you, not on a weird version of ourselves that sometimes comes out when we are very nervous, for example. So try to be calm and try to be yourself and authentic. I know it's hard to think how can you convince somebody, right, in 3 minutes or in 5 minutes? This seems impossible, but it is possible because usually pitches have a specific structure that will help you to basically tell your story and be effective in such a short time. In fact, pitching is not about telling everything you know about your project. Think that you need to be concise. think that it's a chance to raise interest so that the audience or your, let's say the guest panelist can ask you question afterwards. So don't tell everything about your organization or everything about your projects, right? Just tell enough information to raise interest and think of it's a way that you should secure a second or third meeting or a phone call, so that after the event, somebody maybe will contact you to know more about your project. Also, it's important that a pitch has a clear structure. As I told you, you have to create interest. You can do that in many ways. For example, trying to, as I said, use yourself as a character in the story or a beneficiary. I don't know in which way you want to do that, but try to create interest in your audience. Also, position yourself. Why is it? How do you specifically know that the problem you're talking about exists? Use personal examples if you have some. Explain well what is the problem you're trying to solve, what is the solution, and what is the impact. Why it is important to solve this problem. What happens if the problem is not solved? And also very important, always include at the end of your pitch a call to action. So basically, what's going to happen next? What have you reached so far, and what are your next goals? Also, always include an ask at the end of your pitch. So why are you pitching? What is in general your ask at the end of your pitch? Sometimes if it's an investor pitch, it can be, for example, money, right? In this case, since we're just talking to a general audience, you can say that maybe you want feedback on your business model or you want feedback on your project. So think before preparing your pitch, what exactly do you want to achieve? And what do you want the audience to give you feedback on? So remember this. Remember my pitch that I told you before about the Together Women Can. To give you an example, the way I tried to create interest and position myself was about telling the audience that I had been a researcher, cancer researcher for many years. And that I know from my experience because of that normally cervical cancer is a cancer that is treatable if women have access to the right health tools to prevent it. So I position myself as a person that knows about cervical cancer. And then I went straight into the problem, right? And I said, why is it that women like me, right, that are living in Austria and that have access to a healthcare service basically for free, the chances that I will develop this disease are extremely low. And isn't that unfair that in other parts of the world, this is not the case? So I presented the problem in Kenya, therefore, and the lack of access in certain area to this important prevention service. Then I went on describing the solution, the impact, and the call to action. So this is just basically an example on how at the time I had structured my pitch. Another thing I would advise you is to reverse engineer your pitch. So think, what is the goal? What is the audience? And how much time do you have? And then you go back and you start building your pitch. It's important to tailor your pitch specifically to the audience, and also according the information that you put in your pitch. It's important to know how much time, of course, you have. It's also important that your pitch looks professional. So even the presentation, try to be consistent with style, with fonts and color. Use the colors of your business brand. Usually it's important to have not a lot of information on the slides, especially if you're there presenting your own pitch. You can even have just a few pictures and few words on your slides as long as you're telling the story, because that's what counts. You can ask a friend to check for typos. You can have different versions of your pitch according to your different audience. Research your audience. So approach the Lightup Impact team if you want to know who's coming to the event, or if you want to ask us advice on how you should tailor your pitch. We're also here to help you, and rehearse it with friends, family, and colleagues. We are also happy, Eva and I and other members of the Lightup Impact team, perhaps on Tuesday, if you wish to have a short meeting with you, or anybody in the community who wants to join as well, to rehearse the pitches together. This is absolutely open to you. We're here to help you. Here I'm just listing some maybe useful tools. I will share this presentation also in the community so that you can go through anything that is useful for you to prepare the pitch, for example. And another thing I want to mention, really important, online pitching, unfortunately, is completely different from when we are right in person. So try to be during the event in a place where you have silence around you, where you have good internet connection. Try to look always in the camera so that it looks like you're looking to the audience in the eyes, or to the panelists, whoever is looking at you as through a video. I know sometimes this is hard. If we think about it, we can do it. And always have also your full name, your company or your idea name on your Zoom account. This also helps to identify yourself and you as an organization to whoever you are pitching. Yeah, and that's it. Also, there is no single pitch that is good for all. What does this mean? I think I told you already. Always think, who is your audience? Is it an investor? Is it a partner? Is it a foundation? Is it a corporate? Is it just an audience where you want to ask for advice or raise interest? You can say it at the beginning of your pitch. You can say it at the end of your pitch if you want to during your ask. It's just important that you have this in mind before you start preparing your pitch. And this is important. I really want to stress that, because the value that your pitch can create for the audience is different. You need to find what is the value, also what you want to get from the audience, but also what is the value for them to listen to you. Don't forget to include traction and your team. Traction means basically, what have you achieved until now and what are your next steps? You need to show that you have a vision of where you're going. And the team is extremely important. Normally, people, of course, believe in us as entrepreneurs, but whenever we have a strong team that stands behind us, this is of great value to anyone who's listening to your pitch. And again, practice makes perfect. We always need to practice on and on our pitch with different people. We get different feedback, different audience. It's super important. So that's why we're here also to help. Again, as I said, if you want to rehearse the pitch with us, just let us know. And then, what can I say? Just good luck, and remember that you can do it. Thanks a lot. Asante sana.